Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Mancy. We continue our conversation now with Congressman Tom MacArthur. I had talked about the race that you're in against Andy Kim and the fact that he's going after you on two things. I think you dealt with the tax cuts. Another issue he's going after you on, and you've had some pretty fiery town halls on this topic too, is your amendment in the bill to repeal Obamacare. His accusation is that you were going to be taking people off the rolls, people that will be left uninsured, and that you would hurt the pre-existing conditions coverage. Your response?
Well, first, my amendment does exactly the opposite, but let's be clear. I wasn't trying to repeal anything. I was trying to fix a broken healthcare system, and the choice couldn't be clearer, Larry. My opponent wants a government-run, a government takeover of healthcare. I don't think that's good for our citizens. I think that will dumb down the quality of health care, and it will really put at risk the Medicare that our seniors enjoy today. It'll break the system. That's what he wants. I think it's a terrible idea. I want to fix health care. I want to bring costs down. I want people to have access to what they need, the coverage they need, and that's what I worked on doing, was not only making coverage for pre-existing conditions sacrosanct, but also funding with $154 billion. We tried to set up a fund for those with the worst pre-existing conditions. And then take the worst healthcare crisis of our time, the opioid crisis. We have, and I've been involved in this because I'm the co-chair of the heroin task force, we have funded this year $4 billion just for this, far more than has ever been funded.
But it doesn't seem to fix the problem.
Look, all 50 of our bills were about treatment, about prevention, about recovery, long-term recovery. We had bills that specifically dealt with fentanyl, which is a growing crisis. It's a synthetic opioid, quite a bit stronger than heroin. There's still a lot to do, but we're making progress.
Let me ask you one question. You had a town hall recently, a very powerful town hall recently. We had a town hall. And when people showed up to our opioid town hall, the number one thing that parents said is, why, this is the way they phrased it, why does my child have to be bad before they can get good? Why do they have to be arrested to get treatment? Why do they have to be stigmatized as a criminal before they can get the treatment they need? Well, and I know the Ocean County prosecutor has a program where they said, come in, if you're an addict, we will get you help. No arrest, no questions asked, we'll get you help. It seems to be working because I told you New Jersey, the numbers are going up, Ocean County is going down. And so that seems to be working. That's a local law enforcement thing. Can the federal government be involved in that?
Yes. First of all, I agree with that we need to get in front of this. I introduced a bill yesterday with Debbie Dingell, a Democrat from Michigan, if I remember right. But she's worked with me on these issues. And we introduced a bill that is patterned after a program called On Point, just down in Stafford. And it puts social workers into the police department, so when police officers have the first glimpse of a problem, they can connect that person with a social worker before they're in the system, before they're arrested, and the social worker can connect them with the help that they need. It's actually been really effective. So I brought the chief to Washington for one of our hearings. He did a terrific job of explaining what he's trying to do and how it's working. And now we've introduced legislation turning that into a pilot across the country so that other communities can model it. There are so many things we can do like that, Larry, that can help people get help before they're incarcerated. And we're doing things, by the way, for people that are incarcerated, because that is an opportunity to try to help them so that when they get released, they don't end up just in the same lifestyle.
When somebody's brought back on Narcan, shouldn't they go right into rehab? Many of them are put back on the streets.
Well, I think that would be ideal, but there are legal limitations on requiring that. Another effort I've been engaged in here in the state, this is not a federal effort, but it's something called Sabrina's law. It's after a young woman. I know her family. She died of an overdose, and they were never able to involuntarily commit her for treatment because the state law doesn't allow it. Some states, a lot of states do allow it. Somebody that's addicted to drugs is not in their right mind. I don't care how old they are. They're not in their right mind, and family members ought to be able to appeal to a court to please, for the sake of my child's life, please, or another loved one's life, please let us put them in rehab. Studies show that while it's always better if somebody wants to go into rehab, if they're in rehab long enough, however they got there, they improve. And so this is another area. There are so many things that we can do. That's why I spend so much of my time on this, because this, in my view, this is the #1 crisis facing our nation. Think about it, 1,200 people a day, almost 150 a day, 1,200 a week, almost 150 a day. If we were losing that from any other cause, there would be an outcry. And yet I think people feel paralyzed. We're not paralyzed. This may be bigger than any one person. The drug crisis is not bigger than all of us together. We can get in front of it. We can save lives. We can stop people from getting addicted, and we can help those who are. And to me, this is the fight that's worth fighting.
Well, thank you so much. We'll do another opioid town hall. Would love to have you involved in that. Thank you. It was great to talk to you. Congressman Tom MacArthur from the 3rd Congressional District in New Jersey. Jersey Matters continues right after this. Still to come on Jersey Matters, while we're waiting to see if marijuana will be legalized in New Jersey, one city has already gone ahead and decriminalized it. We'll tell you where when Jersey Matters continues.